Hey, I'm Jimmy the Dean, and today we're going to be looking at the question, should Britney Spears be allowed to have a baby? And you might be there like, what? What? Right? So just let me unpack a little bit of a cultural context. Just a reminder, on Ask Jimmy the Dean, we will engage with anything from the profundity of historical big questions, the great questions they're sometimes called, all the way down to what's going on and how we should think about it in the world today. So at the moment, whether you're aware of it or not, Britney Spears, the pop star and actress, has put her life about 13 years ago. She put her life under something called a conservatorship. Now, I'm just going to just more or less define that as it was a group of people that she decided that she wanted to allow to steward the decisions in her life, particularly the major decisions. Now, I just want to, and then what happened was she has more recently decided that she feels as if she's reached the point where she's able to take over personal life decisions. For an example would be she wants to have another baby. But the conservatorship was part of her making a decision to have an IUD inserted in her womb so she can't get pregnant, right? So she wants to have it removed, but the conservatorship has decided that it's just not smart right now. And the world has erupted. If you were following any of this in the news, like all of a sudden, I mean, go check out People magazine or anything. There's just a Britney's being oppressed by some group that's trying to control her life, etc. You can just imagine how this played out. Now, I just want to slow everything down when it comes to these kind of situations and examine both sides and why something like this develops. Now, in order to do that, we have to understand a little bit about what's called the recovery process, particularly addiction cycle recovery. And I don't have time to necessarily go into all the neuroscience at this moment or what would be called the social psychology that governs someone that's trying to rebuild their life. Maybe we'll do that in a future episode. But all that to say, it is a really complex thing when a person has gotten into addictive cycles and then they've built certain tracks in their mind for how they do life. And then they turn and they ask for help. Now, when these conservatorships are set up, these are not just things that are decided on in a day. They're very sophisticated. Matter of fact, Brittany has one over her personal assets and she has one over her personal life decisions. So she has two different conservatorships. At one point, it was the same group that looked over both. Now they're split, where there's a financial group, et cetera, that helps her make decisions around her assets. And then she has a conservatorship of which her father is the lead. So you can just imagine how this plays in the news, like this kind of controlling father trying to keep Britney from doing what she wants to do. But I want to remind you that when those are set up, they're very specifically set up around certain areas of development that need to take place, and then criteria that's used to assess when those areas of development have taken place. That way, someone who's launched into one of these conservatorships can't all of a sudden say, well, I'm done now, I think I'm fine. There's a very set understanding of when a person is ready. And of course, it happens inevitably in the recovery process. Any of us who've ever walked through, I mean, I'm part of a faith community leadership, and I've also been a part of discipleship programs in the past, have many friends who have worked through recovery in different areas of your life. Everyone struggles during the recovery process with wanting to go back to some of the things that really, quite honestly, were the analgesics they used to kill the pain of living. They wanted certain things back, whether it's attachment or whether or not it's people who are attracted to them and they get a certain high from that, whether or not it's an actual drug or chemical addiction, etc. You begin to crave it, but these conservatorships are set up so that you can't simply decide all of a sudden that you think you're well. So I want to just make sure that we understand that what's going on outside of all the media and cultural buzz is actually quite a beautiful process of what it means to restore a life, quite honestly. And what it means to walk a path of recovery when you've gotten to the point where you have destructive or toxic habits that have come about in your life. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but Jim, her father's saying this, or this is going on. Of course, I want to let you know that I don't understand all the immediate complexities, but I want to suggest to you that this is also a feeding ground for media to have a good time. But when we boil this down, this is just a classic example of when is a person walked through enough recovery in order to be able to make life decisions again on their own. And that is a long and difficult process. Hey, maybe in the future we'll do more about, again, addictions and recovery processes. But in this moment, yeah, maybe Britney is ready and there's a controlling thing going on in her conservatorship. But my instinct right now is to lean toward the fact that conservatorships are not easy. No one ever wants to have to be a part of one, by the way. No one makes money off of these things. And so I sometimes lean toward those who are trying to help people through recovery. and that oftentimes people think they're ready before they really are. That said, not sure exactly what's going on, but that helps to put a frame on it. Thanks for asking, Jimmy the Dean.